Hey everyone, my name is Perry, and in this video we're going to be watching The Big Bang Theory to see how accurate all the science and technology in this TV show really are.
Speaking of something I find interesting, did anyone read that article about Bitcoin I sent you?
Yeah, I can't believe a single Bitcoin is worth about $5,000 now.
Wait, I remember the last time I looked up the Bitcoin price, it was like 16,000, which was a while ago, but can you imagine back when it was $5,000? Today it is worth just under $88,000? What the f?
Mine it? Like mining gold?
Sort of. There's a limited amount, and we find it not by tunneling into the earth, but by using a computer to solve complex mathematical problems.
So let me get this straight. We have to write an elaborate program in order to find a fake coin that we can't spend on anything?
Yes.
That sounds fun.
The goal of Bitcoin mining is to find a hash, which is a unique string of letters and numbers. This will be randomly set by the mining network. Blockchain is a string of information. Each block represents a cryptocurrency transaction. Mining here refers to the finding of a new hash, and the reason it exists is for greater security because they don't want anyone and everyone to be able to affect this blockchain. It's also used for decentralization, which means no individual user can affect the entire chain, unlike a traditional bank, for example, where the CEO can affect every branch and ATM if they feel like it. If the problem is solved correctly, the miner records a new hash to the blockchain and is rewarded with Bitcoin for their own wallet. Miners can find this hash by using the SHA-256 function, which is secure hash algorithm, and it's 256 bits. The problem they're solving is really more like a guessing game, where they have to find the valid hash to identify the new Bitcoin transaction or the new block on the chain. We know where the cryptocurrency is coming from because it was the last location of the previous hash. Miners begin the guessing game with a number called a nonce, short for number used once. Each transaction has its own unique nonce that can never be repeated. Once that new nonce is identified and passed through the SHA-256 hash function, which basically means copy and paste the number and press enter, it'll produce a new hash. And that is going to be the new block on the blockchain. For example, let's say a cryptocurrency is exchanged today. Well, then the mining network which that currency is associated with will set a target hash which starts with, let's say, 0000. The miner will start with a nonce, which is equal to 0, and then hashes the data as accordingly shown. The SHA function has the old hash plus the 0, and it'll end up with something that begins with a 3. Since that does not begin with the 000 we're looking for, it has to throw out a new number out there, which is, as you guessed it, 1. And that's why you need these super juice computers, because it's gonna keep on iterating from 0 to 1 to I don't know how many billion it's gonna take, but just for the sake of example, the miner found a nonce of 52,749, which means the computer had to do that many iterations to find a hash that begins with 0000. We can see there's more to it after that. There's a whole unique string of numbers and letters, which is the new hash that the miner was looking for. This is what will be recorded as the new block in the blockchain, meaning mission complete, mining is done, and they get paid in Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever cryptocurrency that the network was on. I'm sure there's more to Bitcoin mining than what I was able to explain, and if you're more familiar with the concept, comment down below, educate me, make me aware so I can learn more.
What's that? Ooh, Batman flash drive. It's pretty cool. Huh. If I erase this, I could probably resell it for like 10 bucks.
At this point, if anyone finds a flash drive anywhere laying around the place, please see how many Bitcoin are on that thing, because it's very possible. I have no idea how many of those things are out there and out and about, but it's, God, yeah, I wonder how many, because there's only a limited number of Bitcoins, so then how many of them are actually just not in circulation that are actually affecting the value of all the ones that are in circulation? I have no idea.
Check this out.
Look at that. Wow, that's amazing.
Crystallization is an exothermic process, so the ice is actually hot.
I won first place for this.
So did I.
I threw Jenny's baby shower.
That's cool, the hot ice experiment. I think this is something anyone can really do at home. It's showing you sodium acetate as a supersaturation, and the liquid here is gonna crystallize, well, instantly, and that's gonna release heat, which is why it's called hot ice. The releasing heat is why it's exothermic, and it looks just like ice, but if you were to touch it, it'll actually feel pretty warm. This experiment is gonna rely on the ability of sodium acetate to remain in a supercooled liquid state until disturbed by our catalyst here. When the seed crystal or a small disturbance is introduced, the liquid will rapidly solidify, forming these ice-like structures and releasing heat. This is the same principle behind reusable hand warmers, which contain sodium acetate solutions. When you hear that metal click inside of the hand warmer, that's the equivalent of Leonard taking that dropper and putting it in the beaker, because that's what's actually gonna heat everything up. These are really fun episodes.
It's about rocks.
Better, it's about a boulder.
Isn't that the same thing?
Far from it. A boulder has a diameter greater than 25.6 centimeters.
Is that fact in the song?
No. Yes.
No, this is not the rock, people. I do agree with Sheldon. Is geology a real science? Seismic waves, earthquakes, maybe finding soil to grow food. I don't even know if that's them, but I certainly will say my ignorance is probably gonna be extremely evident here, because I wonder how many geologists think of electrical engineers and they go, okay, it's just a wire or a battery. It might be that I just don't know anything about them, and I doubt geologists do either. I just don't know why this is relevant. When I think of geology, the first thing that comes to my mind is the Pokemon Geodude.
Yes, and write an astronaut musical. Picture this, the curtain opens. There's a lone astronaut floating in the inky blackness of space, maybe wires, maybe fog. I'll let the director figure that out.
I can't make fun of Howard too much for this, because engineer, side project, YouTube, I mean, I get it, I completely understand. This was a lot of fun. I haven't made a Big Bang Theory video in a while, and I just thought I would put it together. Let me know if you guys like it, and until then, have a great rest of your day.